Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's tutorial is going to be an updated brow routine. I always start my makeup off with my brows before I do anything else. I'll put on my moisturizer and then I'll usually get started on my brows immediately, and then I'll move on to the rest of my face. So if you guys want to see how I do my brows every day, just keep watching. Alright, so first I start off with the Wet n Wild Mega Clear Brow and Lash Mascara. I usually use this to tame my brows before I actually do them. That way all the hairs kind of just stay in one place and they are obviously in the direction that they naturally grow, and I have just a better idea of what the shape of my brow is. When I do my brows, I usually use the Anastasia Beverly Hills pomade. This stuff is amazing. And it lasts a really long time. I think I've had this for about a year, and I am in the shade dark brown. And I use the number 7 Anastasia Beverly Hills eyebrow brush. They have the bigger version in the number 12, but I have the little one. So when I do my brows, I start off with the bottom portion, and I start from the middle, and I just kind of map out where I want the bottom of my brow to be towards the tail. And then I go ahead and fill in towards the top with very light brush strokes. And then I use the spoolie to just kind of blend everything together. That way I make sure I have an even amount of product distributed through my brows. Once I have the, part of the bottom portion mapped out, I start inching my way towards the front. And when I'm in the front, I use a very light hand. For the bottom portion, I have a more defined bottom brow. So I just map out exactly where I want the bottom of that brow to be. And I use a light hand, but I try to make it as defined as I can lightly, and then I move on to the top and I start from the middle, and then I just carve out my arch with, again, a very light hand. And once I have the shape that I want, I just go ahead and fill that in with the pomade. And when I'm putting the product in my brows, I try to brush out as often as possible with the spoolie. That way, just again, the product is distributed as evenly as possible, because it's very easy for you to use a lot, and a little of this product goes a very long way. Once everything's filled into how I want it, I just start towards the front and just kind of, again, try to just define the front of the brow, and I use a very light hand and just kind of try to make hair-like motions in the upward direction, because that is the way my hairs grow in the front. And when I'm doing the front of my brows, I don't like to use a lot of product, so I usually let my hairs grow in their natural direction, and then, whatever sparseness there is, I just try to fill that in with a very light hand and use hair-like brush strokes. And then usually I will just fill in the middle and the tail the darkest. You don't want the front to be dark at all, because that makes your brow look very, drawn on and not natural, obviously. And since my shape of my brow is basically what I want it to be, I will just keep going back in with more product and just making it as dark as I want. And usually I have my brows pretty dark in the end and then a lot lighter in the front. So yeah, I'm just filling in, any sparseness that I have in any areas that I want my product to be. And once you get a pretty good idea of, the brow shape and, as dark as you want it, you can just kind of just brush everything together and your brow is basically done. So moving on to my next brow, I basically do the same thing. I start off at the middle and just work my way over to the tail. That way I can obviously, have a defined bottom portion of my brow, and then I move on to the top and just map out where I want my arch to be and fill in the middle portion. And like I said, you really want to use a very light hand and very light brush strokes, because it's a lot easier to add more product than it is to take away. So just take your time, be very patient. It takes me forever to do my brows, and I constantly just brush them through. That way I make sure I have an even amount of product distributed and I don't overdo the product, because I'm telling you guys, a lot of this product can go a very long way if you do not use a light hand. And I am I used to be the queen of chunky brows. When I first started, I used to have like block brows because I would use so much product, and now I've learned to, use a lot lighter hand and, take my time, and it really has paid off because I feel like my brows look a hell of a lot better than they did, even just a few months ago. And for some reason, the front of this brow gives me a harder time. I think it's because I don't have very many hairs in this portion of my brow. So I try to, make the front part of my brow look like there's a front, but also look like it's hair. And so I'm still trying to kind of work on that, but it takes time, and I just try to use, a extremely light hand. And yeah, I just keep brushing the product evenly through my brows. That way there's no chunkiness, and I just fill in whatever spots there are sparse. So, take your time. Sometimes it helps if you just kind of take a step back and look at your entire face. That way you can see, if your shape is right, and, if it matches your other brow and exactly where it looks sparse. That really helps me, and just take your time. So once I feel like my brows are, perfect, I like to go in with a concealer and just define them a little bit more. That way they're like on point. And I just go in with a flat brush and any concealer. And again, I just start off exactly how I use the pomade. I start off in the middle section of the brow, and I, inch that out towards the tail, and then I just move my way up towards the front. And then what I usually do is I just kind of brush any excess product and try to blend everything down to my eyelid, because I usually use that concealer that I use to clean up my brows as a primer as well for my eyeshadow. And then I just blend all of that out with my finger. That way there's no like crazy harsh line of concealer. It looks pretty freaking natural. And then I don't know why I did the top. I think it's just for the sake of the video. Like, if you really don't feel like your brows define, you can do the top, but honestly, I never do the top of my brows. I always just do the bottom, and it works well enough for me. I feel like it looks more natural. Maybe I just need to practice more, but I just hate blending that top portion. I feel like sometimes it can mess up my brows, and I work hard as hell on those brows. So just be careful when you're doing the top if you choose to do the top. So once you feel like your brows are perfect, you can just go ahead and set them with the Wet n Wild Gel Mascara. And I love to reset them because I don't like my brows to move an inch when I have them, perfect. So after that, this look is basically done. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoy, and I'll see you in my next video. So that is my completed brow routine. That's usually what I do every day besides the concealer on top. I think I mentioned that in the video. I never do the concealer on top just so that's a little more natural. And it's too much work for me, honestly. But yeah, that's how I do my brows every day. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have any suggestions, just comment them down below. And please give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and don't forget to subscribe. I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Mwah! Bye.